Welcome back to Capital Review. I'm Matt Swenson. This is State Representative Kathy Brynaert. Welcome back, Kathy.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, you bet. And I know that you folks are really focused this session on trying to get as many Minnesotans back to work as possible. That's why right when the session began, you passed a jobs-focused bonding bill, but you didn't stop there. You passed another jobs bill just a couple of weeks ago here that will get thousands more Minnesotans back to work.
Well, exactly, Matt. In times of recession, we not only have to look at balancing the budget, but we have to look at increasing our budget base, and that has to do with putting people back to work and increasing that tax base. And we did a couple of things. Angel investment tax credits have been long on the table here at the Capitol. A number of bills have been introduced over the years. They've come from legislators. The governor's promoted that. And finally, we've been able to achieve that objective. So we'll be able to help a number of our innovative small companies get off the ground because the investors will get that tax credit that will incentivize them to invest.
And I understand that that's a credit that a lot of other states around us, including Wisconsin, already have in place, so it's important for Minnesota to remain competitive. Small businesses in our area can continue to attract that kind of investment and grow small businesses, which create jobs in Minnesota.
Well, that's right, and we've heard anecdotally for quite a while that people cross the border go to Wisconsin because of this sort of thing. And that's not the only reason we've done it, obviously, because we hear from our local businesses that it will make a difference to them, but we're really trying to understand how we fit regionally to create a more competitive environment for our local businesses.
And I know that there were several other provisions in that jobs bill that will help put people back to work, including a historic rehabilitation credit, which is very important for many industries in Minnesota.
Well, it's not only, it's important in terms of those who will do that historic preservation work, but it's also important for our communities, for the buildings that will be maintained. Mankato certainly is filled with a number of historical homes, businesses, past governmental facilities that will benefit greatly by this credit.
And right now I know that the federal government provides a 20% credit for this kind of work, and the bill that you folks passed would add another 20% credit for state taxes. So any of this work done by anybody, they get a 40% tax credit total.
Which we hope will be enough of a stimulus to put several people to work, hundreds of people to work.
Absolutely. And then another big component of this bill was expanding a research and development credit for companies across Minnesota.
Right, and of course, this legislature has always been committed to research and development. That's the future is there in terms of where our businesses, innovation. Everybody says invest in research. Now that's where we'll know where our energy future is, where our transportation future is. So it's a really important incentive. And
lastly, I know a very important component of the bill for your area were some changes to tax increment financing law in Minnesota.
Yes, and tax increment financing has really specific rules that we follow, but what happened this session is we opened up that window a little wider so that a number of communities could put some people to work and address some pressing situations in their economic development. And North Mankato is one of those. There's an area where the old Marigold Dairy existed that's going to be developed for condos and offices, and that will benefit by this change in the tax increment financing law.
Well, definitely good news for job growth in Minnesota, and at the same time you're focusing on the budget and job creation, you're also focusing very closely on education, and there are some federal dollars in play here that many states are competing for.
We are working very assertively on Race to the Top, and there's a lot. I think the issue has been politicized in a way that I would rather it hadn't been, in the sense that this isn't about the state's needs versus our teachers. Our teachers, our students, legislators, and the governor's office will all be at the table together to really write a new application so that we can work toward more effective classrooms, more opportunities for our teachers in staff development areas, higher achievement for students, and really trying to reduce that achievement gap.
And this is several $100 million we're talking about, so it's nothing to sneeze at, particularly when we're looking at such giant deficits right now.
Well, it's important regardless, but yes, especially in difficult economic times. But I hope that we don't just focus on the money, but what the goals of the money are.
Well, great. Well, a lot of good work happening here at the Capitol. Just a few weeks left of the legislative session. I know you'll come back and continue to update us.
I like the opportunity, and I like the opportunity to converse with my constituents back home.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much, Representative. We'll see you next time on Capitol Review.